So I want to talk about something that went down last month not a lot of people have been paying attention to. In October, the Human Resource Ministry announced that there were 2.7 million foreign workers in the country, which was 300,000 more than they expected for 2023. This number only includes documented migrant workers, and according to the UN's International Organization for Migration, or IOM, there are actually about 1 to 3 million more undocumented foreign workers here in the country. Now, most of the time when we hear about foreign workers and migrants entering Malaysia, we always talk about how they got here, meaning whether they came here legally or irregularly, but never who brought or invited or approved their entry into Malaysia in the first place. To understand this deeper, you first need to know the two categories of foreign migrants. The first, those who were smuggled in by smugglers and middlemen with their own consent, and the second, those who were trafficked without their consent by human trafficking syndicates or agents who tricked them into situations of forced labor. Just to give an example, according to an IOM report, a number of Bangladeshi workers reported that they were made to pay between 4,000 to 5,000 US dollars per person, which is about 20,000 ringgit to middlemen promising to help them move here. Even though our laws allow these recruiting agents to charge migrant workers up to a month of their salary in fees, how many migrant workers do you think earn 20,000 ringgit a month? Not just that. According to international labor standards, if anyone's going to pay for recruitment fees, it should typically be the employer. Imagine if every time you applied for a job on JobStreet or LinkedIn, you had to pay 5 ringgit. At that rate, these recruiting agents would just be incentivized to keep the position vacant for as long as possible, just so they can collect as much of the application fees as they can. And so a lot of the time, many migrant workers take on huge debts to pay these agents because if they were rich, they wouldn't be here. Then after getting here, some of them have their passports taken away by their employers to stop them from running away. Eventually, some of them even find out that their agents were actually operating illegally. And then just like that, boom, they're now here, trapped in a foreign country, drowning in debt, unable to even go to the authorities for help because technically, they've broken the law. Well, if they have been lied to like this, surely you might say they were a victim, right? According to the US Trafficking in Persons report for Malaysia, the Malaysian government tends to conflate human trafficking and migrant smuggling. As of January this year, there were more than 15,000 undocumented migrants locked up in detention centers, of which over 1,000 of them were children. In reality, we don't know how many of the undocumented migrants in these centers knowingly and willingly broke the law to come here versus how many of them might actually be victims of human trafficking who were lied to and duped into coming here. What we do know is, in 2021, the government reported that there were 100 confirmed cases involving human trafficking, of which 21 resulted in convictions, and in 2022, there were 157 cases that went to court, of which 113 resulted in convictions. If these numbers seem low in comparison, it's because they are. According to the same report by the US government, Malaysia has consistently been ranked in the worst or second worst category among countries with human trafficking, and in Southeast Asia, we pretty much have the second worst average score out of all our neighbors, just after Myanmar, which is literally a country in civil war. All of which to say, the next time you read a news report of authorities conducting arrests or raids or cracking down on hundreds of undocumented migrants, try asking yourself, why do we rarely see the same kind of coverage given to arresting the middlemen, the employers, or the recruitment agents responsible for them being here against their will in the first place?